Hello and welcome back to Got Girlfriends. Our guest today is someone I first met through a social media workshop. I was lost, but Theresa
Yes.
just demonstrated her expertise. She could have taught the class. And if you have a chance, when you see the credits, check out her website and her blogs and her Facebook page and everything else she does, because that is one aspect of her life that is astounding. Read her personal messages. They're just so impressive for someone so young. We later met, and we met to discuss our businesses. And that's when I first heard her truly inspiring story of how she became a bankruptcy attorney extraordinaire. She helps her clients get out of debt, and she always emphasizes that bankruptcy is the last resort. It should be your last resort, according to Theresa. But that's not all. Theresa establishes herself as someone who's been there, done that. She knows the stress and the fear that her clients face when they're considering a bankruptcy, because Theresa has taken that journey herself. She, at a young age, declared bankruptcy. So just imagine how her clients feel when they know that here there is someone who really understands what a bankruptcy all is about and how your life can change. But Theresa is their example of the other side of a bankruptcy. So Theresa, welcome.
Thank you.
You just have enormous empathy for your clients.
I do.
When they walk in your door and you tell them that you've been there and done that, I think it would be so important to share with us, who may not have all of us heard your story, and our viewers, about your financial challenges and your journey.
When I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. It's not contagious. I'm in remission now, but I was very sick from it, and I did not have health insurance through college and law school. And of course, it was hard to work full-time to pay for anything. So I had a lot of medical bills, and I was living on credit cards. When I got out of law school, I went to work for a law firm, and I was making a decent salary for just a common person, but I wasn't a common person. I had $175,000 worth of student loans.
Wow.
I had $40,000 or more in medical debt and credit card debt. So I didn't know what to do. I was getting 4 paychecks a month. One went to the student loans, one went to the medical bills, one went to the credit card bills. I was living with my parents. I couldn't afford to move out or move on with my life. So I remembered I had taken a bankruptcy course in law school. I went to see a colleague who I was friendly with, and he sat me down and said, "You're the perfect candidate. You have nothing to lose. Just file and start over, get a fresh start." And that's exactly what I did. And today I own a home, I own my own business, I paid off my car, and I turned that story into a marketing message to help others, because I believe that everyone is entitled to a second chance, a fresh start, however you want to say it.
And that wasn't an easy decision for you. It took you some time.
It did. It actually took me a year.
A year to make that decision.
It actually did. I went to see the lawyer, and I went home and I thought it over, and I spoke to my fiance at the time, who is now my husband, and it took a lot of soul searching, a lot of tears, and it wasn't until I was actually sued for a credit card debt that I couldn't keep up on that I felt this is so real and it's going to be public, and then all that started to come up for me. And I went back to him and I said, "Let's do it, let's just do it." And it was 2 weeks before I got married.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. 2 weeks before your wedding date.
2 weeks before my wedding, I did it. I filed and I went into my marriage knowing that I was only bringing the burden of my student loans, because you cannot discharge student loans.
Right.
So I do carry that burden. I pay it, it's current. And filing the bankruptcy relieved me of the obligations that I could relieve myself of the credit card debt, the medical debt, so I freed up some income to pay off the student loans and move on.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I have a question for you. First of all, you are very young, so I'm sure it's a benefit that you're talking with people who are in your position, and it's not like they're talking to someone who's their parents' age, so that's great. But what was the turning point, or your paradigm shift, if you want to call it, that just made you turn something so horrible into something so great, and really you lined your future because of that new thinking?
I had been doing a lot of family law, divorces, custody, stuff like that, and then I started to pick up some credit card defense lawsuits, and people were in the same situation I had found myself in, and I realized that there's this stigma. Even I wasn't talking about it to them. And one day I was just driving in the car and I was thinking, you know, how do I build the business and my practice, and how do I help these people and just get my name out there and everything, and it just hit me. I have to tell my story. And I went right into my office, I sat down at the computer, I wrote out what is now the personal message on my website, and I sent it off to the IT person that I use, and he posted it, and within days and weeks, people would call me up and say, I read your story, I know you know what I feel like, and you know what I'm going through. Please help me. And it just built from that.
It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's awesome.
Very inspiring.
So Theresa, how did you deal with the pressure, knowing that, okay, so now you're an attorney and you know, everybody now knows what you've done. So how did you deal with the pressure of dealing with the credit card, you know, with knowing that you had to file bankruptcy to get you through all of this?
The first statement on the personal message is, I think it's vitally important that my clients and colleagues know what I've been through on my own financial journey. People don't talk about these things, so when they see somebody doing it, they feel like it's okay for them to do it as well. I've never had anyone come to me and say, you should be ashamed of yourself, or that's horrible and you should be embarrassed. I've had the opposite.
But did they then?
No, even when I was going through it myself before I outed myself, I was going through it and I had the stigma too. I didn't want it in the paper. It doesn't go in the paper, but I didn't want it in the paper. I didn't want it online. I called the bar anonymously, dialed *67.
It's a blocker.
This is an attorney in the state of Connecticut, and I'd like to know whether or not, if I file bankruptcy, I will lose my law license. I went through blood, sweat, and tears to get those 2 law licenses in Massachusetts and Connecticut, and I wasn't going to lose them. And they said, no, that's a personal decision that's for you to do and decide. So I felt confident. I was held by my colleague who did the bankruptcy for me, and he held my hand figuratively through the process. And I feel like I have to repay that to the community and turn it around. I went to Laurelton. Donna and I have that connection. We both are graduates of Laurelton. And my goal in life is to empower women and remove the stigma from the bankruptcies. And it's with that conviction that I go to work and I get up every day and I help people.
Wonderful.
Theresa, that is amazing. But are there some mental mistakes that men and women make when they're facing bankruptcy? Do they not quite understand and get confused? Or what could you tell us and our audience about that, the mindset of that?
Absolutely. People think that they're going to lose their home and their cars, and that someone's going to come in and auction all of their items off, because we see it dramatized on TV. The Real Housewives.
Yes.
The Real Housewives.
They're the make-believe housewives.
Yes. So I just want people to understand that it's a government program. It was designed by the Congress of the United States of America. It's your constitutional right and freedom to use those laws to your benefit. And you're not going to lose your home or your cars if I can help it. There's exemptions that you get to keep your homestead, and you have to have a car to get to work. So the bankruptcy judges and trustees understand that, and they're also there just to help you, like I am.
And do you advise people sometimes when it's not a good idea to file for bankruptcy?
Absolutely. Like Donna said, it's always the last resort. I invite people in for a free consultation. It usually takes an hour. I ask them a series of pointed questions to give me their financial circumstances so I can analyze them and tell them if they qualify and if it makes sense for them.
Right, right.
Sometimes it just simply
doesn't.
does not make sense, and there are bankruptcy alternatives that I can help them with.
Give one example where it doesn't.
If you have quite a bit of equity in your home, say you inherited a home free of a mortgage from your parents, but you have $80,000 in credit card debt. That doesn't make sense. You would lose your home because there's not enough exemption to keep it.
Important to know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Important to know.
yeah.
That stigma, though, I mean, you're doing such great work in eliminating that, have people think differently about filing for bankruptcy, but that stigma is still there.
It is, absolutely. People think that their employers are going to be notified. People think it's going to be published in the newspaper, and it simply is not. It is public record, but it is not easily obtainable public record.
Well, in the work that Bernadette and I do, right, Bernadette?
Yes, absolutely.
That question is on
It's on every
virtually
application.
Every application.
Every app.
Application for employment for one of us, let's say,
right.
for affiliation with a carrier,
Yes.
and also on applications for insurance,
Absolutely.
for coverage.
Home, auto. And I was talking to Theresa about this before the show, and luckily you told me that if you already have those insurances, the fact that you file for bankruptcy is not going to affect you. However, if you want to shop around and try to get a lower rate, that is with you for 7 years. So that's why I asked you when it does not make sense, because it should be something you do maybe as a last resort, because it will impact the cost of your insurance.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and I agree with you that there are considerations to be made, obviously, but sometimes you have to do a cost-benefit analysis.
Yes.
You know, I mean, maybe today it makes sense that I dump $40,000 worth of medical debt so I can move on with my life, and maybe tomorrow I'll go shop around for insurance and have to pay a premium on that.
Yes.
But as time goes on and you repair your credit, you become more, let's say, bankable and
7
able
years.
to get credit, and you rebuild and you rehabilitate. It's now approximately 2 years before you can start getting another credit card and a car loan and a mortgage.
Right.
And then it does sit on your credit report, but it's not, it doesn't have that stigma as it used to. It used to be very bad.
Right. It just has some financial consequences that everybody needs to understand.
That's what I was going to say,
Yeah,
Bernadette.
yeah,
It might be worthwhile to clarify that you're not eliminated from opportunity, but you might pay more.
You might pay more. Yes.
For
yes.
instance,
you
if
might pay
you-
more.
If you
yes,
found
that's
yourself
correct. That's
filing for
absolutely
bankruptcy
correct.
today and you needed to go buy get a car loan tomorrow, they might get you on the interest rate.
Yes.
But they'll give you a car loan.
Yes. You just have to pay more.
Because somebody will take a risk on you.
Yeah, I have to jump in here because we have just a few seconds left. Actually, I want a quick question. I need a quick answer. But are most bankruptcies due to medical bills?
Medical bills and unemployment.
And unemployment?
Unemployment,
Yep.
sure.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And sometimes divorce.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, Theresa, you've been a shining example
Kudos,
to us
Theresa.
of,
Thank you.
of
Amazing.
how you can turn your life around and make, what did you say, make
Lemonade out of lemons.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to be taking a public service announcement break, and we'll be right back and wrap
We
up.
need to bring you back. This was too short.
Yes, it always is too short. See how
Right?
fast it went.
We
So.
need more.